Hi, everyone. Let's talk about Ring of Honor Wrestling special episode from April 17th, 2026, which this was a really good action of professional wrestling. Let's talk about it, guys. So, the survival of the fitness qualifier, Billy Starks defeated Lacey Lane, and Athena walked out with Billy Starks but went to the back before the match started. Then winners head to Supercard of Honor on May 15th, and Lane dived out of the ring apron onto Billy Starks onto the outside and took early control of the match. And Billy Starks hits a Destrance DDT on the ring apron, then puts her on offense for a bit. Billy Starks plays into crowd and getting on her and chanting for Lacey, and Billy Starks hits a series of tossing while holding onto the hair, and she then misses a top rope suicide to allowing Lane to get back into it, and she hits a super kick to set Billy Starks for a 2 count. Then Billy Starks went down on an Irish whip and grabbed her leg, but she faked a few injuries in her time, and it was a fake injury again this time, and hits a suplex on Lane, then a suicide after the fake injury, and goes for a 2 count, which Lane counters into a pinning combo for 2. Then Lane hits a big boot and a springboard twisting elbow for a 2 count. Then Lane hits a suplex for another 2 count. Then hits a sense of a flatlander for a near fall next. And then Billy Starks raises the eyes and got into it, and they changed pinning combos and strikes. And then Billy Starks hits a neutralizer and got the 3 count. And that's how she defeated Lazy Lane. I'll say it again. That's how she defeated Lacey Lane. And that's how Billy Starks won. Then, another qualifying of the fitness qualifier, Yuki Nakasaki defeated Fenta Fence, and Fenta hits a series of shoulder tackles to get their early advantage, and Yuka hits a drop kick and sends her opponent to the outside, and she falls then up by diving out of the top rope onto Finn. And then Finn hits a dragon screw leg drop. Then she got back into the ring and then locks Yuka into a cinch mover. That's not long later. She puts Yuka in a high angle Boston crab, but Yuka got to the ropes, and Yuka made a comeback and hits a clothesline for a 2 count, and Fenta Finn reverses a slam and hits a spinning heel kick moments later for a 2 count, and then hits what I call a moonsault heel kick for a 2 count. Then Yuka hits a series of strikes and a spinning hammer lock slam, and then puts Fenta in position and hits the Magic Girl Splash for the win, and that's how Yuka Nakasaki defeated Fenta Finn. Then we had the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Lee Moriarty defeated Marshall Von Erich to retain, which was a good match. Let's talk about it, guys. So both wrestlers used their first rope break within the first minute. I'll say it again, in the first minute and stuff, going back and forth, technical wrestling, back and forth, hard hitting, boom, 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 bang, 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 you know what I'm saying, guys, and stuff, which was really good stuff, guys, and all of that between Lee Moriarty and Marshall Von Erich and stuff, which was really good action in the Ring of Honor Pure Championship thing, which was really good, guys. We'll talk about it still, guys, here. So let's talk about it still, guys. I'm telling you, that was really good action. Let's talk about it still. So both wrestlers used their first rope breaks within the first minutes and a half of the bout. Finn Eric takes an early control after Lee Moriarty was forced to the ropes when he locked in the Iron Claw. Then Lee Moriarty fought back and started working on Von Erich's arm, and he did a finger breaking point after putting him in an armbar. And the commentary brings up that Lee Moriarty was working the finger on the hand of Von Erich used for the claw, and Von Erich forced to use his second rope break shortly after, and Von Erich makes a comeback with some Von Erich's Von Erich's style forearms and clotheslines in the corner later, and then hits a cannonball in the corner for a 2 count. And Lee Moriarty hits a back suplex for a 2 count, then locks into a Border City clutch onto the right side, then the side of his clutch hand after a Von Erich kick out, forcing Von Erich to use his final rope break. And Von Erich went for the claw while Lee Moriarty was on the apron, but Lee Moriarty locks him in a triangle in the ropes since Von Erich has no rope breaks, that the hold wasn't broken, and Von Erich went seriously, and Lee Moriarty declared the winner, and that's how he won, and that's how Lee Moriarty defeated Marshall Von Erich. And then backstage with Josh Woods says it's too easy and he's bored. He decides to issue an open challenge to any peer wrestler around the world. And he also said that when he wins his Almost Challenge match at Supercard of Honor, he wants a shot at the peer title. Then we had a Survival of the Fitness qualifier, another one with Trish Adore fences Hyan. I love Hyan in Maya World. Do you guys do? Because I love that tag team. You can ask your questions down below about that tag team. They're really good. I like them. But anyways, let's carry on with the Trish Adore fences Hyan match. Trish Adore hits a big shoulder tackle after a bit of a since start, and Hyan hits a drop kick that sends Trish Adore to the outside shortly after, and Hyan then hits a high crossbody to the outside, and Hyan was on the top turnbuckle, and Trish Adore hits her with a big chomp, sending her spilling to the outside, and Christian EXO attacks Hyan onto the outside while the ref was distracted, and Trish Adore then takes control, locking her opponent in a crutch while almost doing the splits, and Trish Adore wraps her into another stretch, and then later in a neck crutch, and Hyan makes a comeback with a pair of clotheslines and a big boot, and then she hits a Sito suplex for a 2 count. Then Hyan then hits a spear for a 2 count. Then Trish Adore fought back with a gory bomb, then hits a high release German shortly after. Then a lariat Tumen for the win. Then the Varsity and EXO join her in the ring to celebrate after, and that's how Trish Adore defeated. That's how Trish Adore defeated Hyan, guys. Then, guys, after that, then we had another Survival of the Fitness qualifying match with Pierce Stephanie versus Hyan Dawn, which that was good, guys. Pierce Stephanie, I love Pierce Stephanie. She's really good, and my friend as well loves Pierce Stephanie as well, guys. But anyways, let's talk about this match with Pierce Stephanie and Isla Dawn and Pierce Stephanie. Let's talk about it, guys. Which this was a good match, and Pierce Stephanie won this match. Let's talk about it. So Pierce Stephanie is undefeated in Ring of Honor in 2026 and still the CMLL Women's Champion. So joining this Survival of the Fitness will be a big feather in her cap, and Dawn is beating her will also be a feather but her cap, and they lock up off the top with Dawn setting Pierce Stephanie off the rope, and Pierce Stephanie powered over Dawn and sent her to the mat, and Dawn fought back with some slaps and they reset, and Pierce Stephanie dodged a couple of lockups and pie-faced Dawn and add insult, and they tie up in a test of strengths, which this was won by Pierce Stephanie, and Dawn tries to pick up the pace, but Pierce Stephanie keeps control and took her down with a head scissors, and Dawn popped back up, but Pierce Stephanie threw her over in a fireman carry, then tries to send her to the corner, and Dawn countered it and charged at her, but Pierce Stephanie dodged her, and Dawn threw a back elbow, but Pierce Stephanie counters with a drop kick, and Dawn hits a low blower, then stomps Pierce Stephanie working the leg, and Dawn throws her out of the corner with a suplex, and then but she got a 2 count. Then Dawn lets a face buster, then a big knee to Pierce Stephanie's head, but only got another 2 count. Then Dawn puts a headlock, but Pierce Stephanie punched her away out of it, and Dawn went for a back suplex, but Pierce Stephanie blocked it, and Dawn sends her up in a Cobra clutch but Pierce Stephanie got out of it and rolled her up for 2. Then Dawn knocked Pierce Stephanie out with a shot, but Pierce Stephanie countered with a fallaway slam, and she chomped Dawn and dodged a big high kick before delivering a spear, and Pierce Stephanie went up top and went for a moonsault, but Dawn had moved and she nailed Pierce Stephanie with a spin kick and then locked in a sleeper. And Pierce Stephanie got to the ropes to break the hold and locked in a dragon sleeper of her own. Then Pierce Stephanie used it to pin Dawn in a fence to the survival of the fitness match. Then next, Coleman interviews the Ring of Honor television champion Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne and asks Nick Wayne about the upcoming Best of Super Juniors, and Nick Wayne says that he's going in to win the whole thing this year, and Nick Wayne says that he's looking forward to taking on last year's winner Yoshi Fojai, I can't pronounce his name, Fojai. And Coleman brought up the Ring of Honor TV title and asked Wayne how he plans on out in the tournament setting instead of a match-to-match. Mother Wayne interrupts and says that Nick was up for it and Keith Sabian was also there. Then we had the Ring of Honor World Television match, Nick Wayne with Keith Sabian and Mother Wayne defeating Eva Uno, which was a good match, guys. Let's talk about this match right here between the two men. Let's talk about it. Nick Wayne plays games with Eva Uno off the top. When the bell rings, Eva Uno Eva Uno overpowers him into the corner and they trade slams and whips across the ring to Wayne bells and gets some resistance from his mom, and Eva Uno paces patiently in the ring, and Nick Wayne takes his time getting back in, which essentially Eva Uno had time to get back out and run around to the other side of the ring to catch him and off guard with a big shove into the ring apron, and Eva Uno chopped Nick Wayne against the barricade, and Nick Wayne escaped again. I'll say it again. Nick Wayne escaped back into the ring, and Eva Uno followed him into the corner and started throwing forearms, and he sets Nick Wayne up onto the turnbuckle and went for a superplex, but Nick Wayne blocked it and twisted his arm around his back before dropping him and bouncing Eva Uno's head off the turnbuckle, and Nick Wayne hits a double stomp for a 2 count, then works Eva Uno and stuff, and back and forth. Really good pacing, guys. Really good stuff, I'm telling you, with Eva Uno and Nick Wayne, which I liked, which was really good, guys. Really talented wrestlers in Ring of Honor. Really good stuff, I'm telling you. But anyways, let's carry on. So Nick Wayne takes his time getting back in, which Eva Uno has had time to get back out and runs around the other side of the ring and catches him guard with a big shove into the ring apron, and Eva Uno shoves Nick Wayne against the barricade, and Nick Wayne escapes back into the ring, and Eva Uno follows him into the corner and starts throwing forearms, and he sets Nick Wayne up top the turnbuckle. I'll say it again, guys. The turnbuckle, and went for a superplex, but Nick Wayne blocks it and twists his arm around his back before dropping him and bouncing Eva Uno's head off the turnbuckle, and Nick Wayne hits a double stomp for a 2 count, then works Eva Uno over in the corner and begins forcing Eva Uno's arm to try and take away his strength, and Nick Wayne got cocky through, and he does, and Eva Uno powers up and chomps him off his knee, and Nick Wayne comes back with some knees to Eva Uno's arm, then twists it around in his wrist lock, and Eva Uno counters with a neck breaker, but the damage has his arms seem to be done, and he splashes Nick Wayne into the corner, but couldn't get him up for a duplex, and he did plant Nick Wayne with a DDT, but Nick Wayne kicks out at 2, and then the Eva Uno drops him with a pile driver, but again, Nick Wayne kicks out at 2. Then Nick Wayne managed to work Eva Uno into a Camaro lock, then twisting his arm to Eva Uno screams in pain. Then Eva Uno managed to get in a feet into the ropes to break the hold, but Nick Wayne was right back into it, and Eva Uno threw him through the ropes, then went for a dive, but Nick Wayne was back in it, and Eva Uno hits a shoulder breaker, sending Nick Wayne staging, and Eva Uno charged, but Nick Wayne nailed him with a spinning kick and made the pin to retain the TV title, and that's how Nick Wayne defeated Eva Uno and retained the Ring of Honor TV title. Then Then we had AR Fox defeating Nasuki. Also again, AR Fox defeated Daisuke Nasaki. I can't pronounce his name, but Nasuki Nasaki, and AR Fox picked up the win here. Let's talk about this match, guys. So good stuff from AR Fox and Naya Daisuke, which was really good stuff, guys. Let's talk about it and stuff, which was really good stuff, back and forth, really hard hitting for a little while and stuff, guys. And just really talented stuff, I'm telling you guys. Really good stuff, I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys, just really good stuff. But we'll carry on, guys, and still talk about this because I love this stuff, so let's talk about it now. AR Fox arrives early for his match and sits down Nick Wayne on the entrance ramp, and Daisuke comes out of time, and there was no time for him to stare down and sad. And AR Fox and Daisuke trade moves out of the top, with neither one getting a clear advantage. Assistly, AR Fox sends Daisuke into the corner and nails him with a big clothesline and charges at Daisuke, who dodged, and AR Fox ends up eating a turnbuckle. Daisuke begins working AR Fox's knee, trying to take away his high flying, and he took AR Fox down with a cheap block, and then wraps his leg in the ropes for some kicks, and Daisuke puts on a leg lock and twisting AR Fox's knee till AR Fox was able to grab the ropes, and then Daisuke hits a heel kick to Fox hamstring, heel kick to AR Fox hamstring, and then starts toying with him and playing to the crowd, then lets AR Fox get a lock breaker in, and then gets a big boot. Then he rolls through a blockbuster and then hits a Narcissus suplex and twisting Daisuke in midair. Then AR Fox sends a couple of kicks but connects with a cutter. Then Daisuke tries to send him into the corner, but got another cutter for his trouble. Then AR Fox dodges Daisuke into position for a 450, but Sasaki moves out of the way and kicks his knee out from underneath him. Then Daisuke moves off the top with a clothesline and then a DDT, and he locks a crossface on AR Fox, who nowhere near a rope, and then a screaming AR Fox dodging him both by his fingernails to his feet, found a rope to break the hold. Then Daisuke hits a scoop slam, then went up top to drop an elbow. However, Fox got his knee up and hits another cutter. Daisuke crawls out of the ring to recover, and AR Fox dives onto him over the top rope. Then Fox throws him back into the ring and dives him head first into the mat with a destroyer. Then AR Fox makes the pin and gets the win, and that's how AR Fox won the match and defeated Daisuke. I can't pronounce his name, but Daya Daisuke, and that's how he defeated Daya Daisuke. Then Nigel McGuinness appears on screen to challenge Josh Woods, saying he needs to beat him before he can and beat Lee Moriarty for the Pure title. Nigel McGuinness says that if he beats Wood at Supercard, he wants last shot at the Pure title. Then it was announced that Blake Christian Fitz Bandito for the Ring of Honor title will also happen at Supercard of Honor. Then we had the legal twist: Blake Christian and Jay Legal and Lee Johnson defeating Aaron Solo and Nick C and QT Marshall, which this was a good trios match, but let's talk about it anyways, guys. Let's talk about this trios match. The legal twist the legal twist jumped their opponents off the top with Nick C and Legal fighting in the ring while Lee Johnson and Blake Christian take out QT Marshall and Aaron Solo onto the outside, and Nick C overpowered Jay Legal, and QT Marshall and Aaron Solo come in for a triple team, and Aaron Solo and Jay Legal battled in the ring till a drop kick sends Jay Legal currents into Blake Christian, knocking him off in the apron, and Lee Johnson, I'll say it again, guys. Sorry, my stuff. So I'll repeat it again. I'll just repeat. I'll say it again. Aaron Solo and where was I? Okay. Aaron Solo and Jay Legal battled in the ring to a drop kick, and since Jay Legal currents into Christian, Blake Christian and knocking him off through the apron. And Lee Johnson came back in and threw some shoulders into Solo's gut. And Christian and Johnson jumped in and out, with one causing the distraction and the other taking punch shots at Solo. Then Legal tags in and trips and throws some chops, and he works to the leg of Solo and blows a kiss to Marshall in the corner. And then Christian tags in to take over Miss Solo and Lee Johnson to since and a few chops after a tag, and he's suplex Solo, then makes a cocky cover for a 2 count. Then Legal tags in and slams Solo, then throws a shoulder at Marshall and knocks him over the apron. Then Solo tries to make a tag but got cut off, and Legal and Johnson both got thrown onto the top rope through, which allows Solo to make a tag to QT Marshall, who clears the ring, and QT Marshall tries to finish off Christian with a springboard slam, but Legal breaks it up, and then QT Marshall hits a flat lantern on Jay Legal, which Blake Christian takes out Aaron Solo, and Nick C got and fall, pressing Blake Christian, but Jay Legal makes the save, and then they come back and forth, really hard hitting stuff, guys, back and forth, and really good stuff, pacing and stuff with that trios match, which was good, guys. I'm telling you, with that trios match and stuff. So that's what happened right there. So I'll carry on now. So Christian tags in and takes over, dismantles Solo, and Christian since a few stomps after a tag and a suplex Solo, then makes a cocking cover for 2. Then Legal tags in and slams Solo, then throws a shoulder at QT Marshall, knocking him off the apron. And Solo tries to make a tag, but got caught off. And Jay Legal and Lee Johnson both got crushed on the top rope through, which allows Solo to make a tag to QT Marshall, who clears the ring, and QT Marshall tries to finish off Blake Christian with a springboard slam, but Jay Legal breaks it up, and QT Marshall hits a flat lantern on Jay Legal, while Blake Christian takes out Aaron Solo, and Nick C got him fall, impressing Blake Christian, but Jay Legal makes the save and sending Nick C to the outside, and Lee Johnson and Blake Christian take care of Aaron Solo and QT Marshall in the ring, and the legal scroll, I'll say it again, the legal scroll triple team Nick C into the ring, but the big man fought back, and Lee Johnson put Nick C onto his shoulder, and Blake Christian hits a stomp into a driver, and Lee Johnson made the pin and win with the twist screw and got the win. And that's how the legal twist defeated QT Marshall and Nick C and Aaron Solo. Then we had another survival of the finish qualifying match with May Ruled defeating Robin Renee, which this was a decent match between those two women. Let's talk about it. Ruled essentially comes close to dethroning Athena a few weeks ago. She had a chance at a second bite at the elbow, but she can get past Robin Renee off the opening lockup, and Robin tossed Maya aside, then did some push-ups, and Ruled grabbed a twist lock, then did some push-ups of her own that led Robin sneak in a big boot to the face, and they trade chomps with Renee coming out on top. Then Ruled brought Renee down with a head scissors, then drop kicked for a 2 count, then got another 2 count off a suplex, and then hammered Robin Renee with an elbow in the corner, and Robin Renee countered with a drop kick of her own and sending Maya rolling, and Ruled came back with a suplex and dropping Renee on her nesting, and Ruled went for a rolling through since stop, but Robin countered and Maya went through roll her ankle, and Robin then snaps Maya Ruled head into the ring apron, and then Renee went for a moonsault but slipped and gave Ruled a chance to get a double stomp, and then Shining Wizard, and she makes the pin and picks up the victory, and that's how she won. I'll say it again, guys. Robin Renee went for a moonsault and then slipped, and then gave May Ruled a chance to get a double stomp, and then Tristan Weird and gets a pin and picks up the victory and advances the Super Card of Honor and the Survival of Fitness, and that's what happened right there, and that's how May Ruled won and advances to the next round. Then Then after that, guys, then after that, what happened? All of that. Then we had Athena facing Jenna Stills. Oh, this match was good with Jenna Stills versus Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's World Television grounding match. This was good, guys. This was really good stuff. And this was the main event. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about this main event, which was really good, I'm telling you. So let's talk about it. So Jenna Stills is 2-8 in Ring of Honor. So it's so perfect sense that she will get this grounding match that the field of challengers for Athena and Ring of Honor World Champion has been set, and so she's probably in a great mood for this match. And Athena takes control off the top and taking Stills down with a headlock, and Stills fought back, but Athena straps her in a head scissors, and they broke and still snap. Also again, Still slaps Athena, which sends her into a rage, and hits a front headlock with a bulldog choke to censor domination over Stills, and Stills came off the ropes with a crescent and a head scissor takedown on Athena, and then hits a snap mirror and a drop kick to get a 1 count, and then Athena sent her up on her shoulder, but Jenna Stills countered and sent her to the outside, and she then tries a baseball slide, but Athena caught her and threw her into a suplex onto the outside, but inside the ring, Athena clobbers Jenna Stills to the mat, then throws elbows in the corner, and Athena then fish hooked Jenna Stills, but Jenna Stills throws some back elbows as the 5-minute mark passes, and Athena locked Jenna Stills in a cinch crutch, but Jenna Stills elbowed her way out, and Jenna Stills hits a press and then a neck breaker, but puts Athena back on her heels, and Jenna Stills went up top, but Athena rolled out, and Jenna Stills changes angles and hits a crossbody onto Athena onto the outside to the top, and then hits a spinning heel kick back in the ring, but Athena went to the ropes in a sense of pin. Athena dodges a kick, then delivers a running Suicide for a 2 count. Then Athena went up top, but Jenna Stills cuts her off with an avalanche hurricanrana followed by a tornado DDT. Then Athena caught her with a crutch slam and locked in the clutch, and Jenna Stills tapped, and Athena hold the lock on till she passed out, and that's what happened, and that's how she won, and that's how Athena retained the title and defeated Jenna Stills, which I gave this Ring of Honor an 8 out of 10. It was a very good show. I gave this episode an 8 out of 10, guys. I gave it an 8 out of 10 this episode. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to say for this episode and my opinions on it, and I gave this show an 8 out of 10. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always, guys. And this is CJD. I'll say it again. This is CJD 2006. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always. And this is CJD, and we're out. Peace out, and take care, and much love.